Hi, I'm Brian, and today I'd like to talk to you about one of my very favorite albums of all time. It's an album that I missed when it was first released in 1981, but now, thanks to remastering and reissuing, I can get my copy on vinyl, and you can too. It is From the Lion's Mouth by The Sound. And from the first moment I heard this back in the 2010 sometime, I thought I have to have that. But you have to sell a house or a body part, I think, to be able to afford an original if you didn't get it when it first came out. And so I've had to wait for this reissue. And it is on the Corova label, on the red vinyl, the Corova label. Now, wasn't Corova the name of the milk bar in A Clockwork Orange? Anyway, it's a really good repressing. It has a little bit of crackle on it here and there, but as soon as the music starts off, it generally dissolves and you don't hear any of it. And I just can't be happier to have this in my collection because, when I first started collecting records again, probably up to about 5 years ago or so, there have been two bands and two bands only who have just blown me away and become part of my staple listening schedule. And one is the Comsat Angels and the other is The Sound. And they were seen by many at the time as being such an obvious successor to Joy Division, and I totally get that indeed. There's the same sort of feeling that I get when I listen to Joy Division. The cover there is from Daniel in the Lion's Den from 1872, and the album features Adrian Borland on vocals and guitar, Michael Dudley on drums, on bass, and Max Myers on the keyboards. And it was produced by who had just engineered those three fantastic Echo and the Bunny, Simple Minds albums. He did Sons and Fascination, Sister Feelings Call, and Empires and Dance. And he was producing, or just got off that gig, producing Echo and the Bunnymen's Heaven Up Here. And the insert you get has another picture of the band, or it's the only picture of the band, if I'm right, and all the lyrics and details that you would want to hear. So why do I love this album so much? Would you allow me just to rattle on for a little while and tell you how much I love each and every song? And would you join me as we go through this trip together and delve deeply into From the Lion's Mouth by The Sound? How about we do it? Strangely, for an album and a band that I love so much now, I can't actually recall when I first heard them. A lot of me wants to say it was just a sort of a random browse on YouTube and I heard I Can't Escape Myself. But another part of me wants to say it is the first song on this album and it is called Winning. But it wasn't this version that I heard first, it was the version from the Hothouse live album, an incendiary album of The Sound playing live. But pretty quickly, I got onto From the Lion's Mouth and picked up on this first song, Winning. It's an incredible way to open the album, and I've since learned that you have to pay attention to these opening songs on sound albums. I'm thinking I Can't Escape Myself from Jeopardy and Whirlpool from Heads and Hearts, which to me is just incredible. I love that song so much. And here we have Max's keyboard just shimmering over the top, the bass and the drums setting the table for Adrian's 2-3 note arpeggio to come over the top of that. And then that is all set up for that beautiful, passionate vocal. When you're on the bottom, you crawl back to the top. Something pulls you up, and a voice says you can't stop. It won't let you stop. I was going to drown. Then I started swimming. I was going down. Then I started winning, winning. Yeah. And then electric guitar. The electric guitar that Adrian plays throughout this album is so tastefully used. I mean, he's not a Eddie Van Halen or anything like that, but to me, he speaks just as clearly and as emotionally. And the 2 to 3 note solo that he puts into this song is absolutely manic. It's just post-punk perfection. And the gated snare that's used on the drums towards the end, that it really punches through the mix. It is a perfect opener. It could be my favorite song by The Sound, but there are so many that are contending with it. This is beautiful. Let's have a listen to a bit of that solo if we can. And some of my sound samples are going to be focused on the guitar because to me, they are the visceral, abrasive edge to this band's sound, this band's beautiful sound. Let's take it, have a listen. So how do we follow that? Well, I suppose we better throw out the single from the album. It's the only single that was released on the album, and it's called Sense of Purpose. And it's a very quiet but slow burning opening to it, and that's provided by the riffage on the bass by Graham. And I love the panning of the guitars and the keyboards from side to side, which is what panning does. But there's also the sense that we're on a very wide soundstage and there's plenty of room up above as well. But everywhere we go is going to be fraught with danger because the music is so taut and tight. And I particularly love those eviscerating slashes of electric overdriven guitar. I love the vocals and the lyrics. What are we going to do while we've still got the strength to move? What are we going to do? We've still got the strength to move, but we're only going to have it for a certain time. What are we going to do? I'm asking you. I'm asking you. And the vocals are absolutely killer here. I'm going to listen to some of them very shortly. This song is kind of perfect, as is the excoriating solo from Adrian halfway through the song. I could, ask for more guitar throughout the song, more of that lead guitar, but it is used so appropriately when employed, as are all the instruments. It's quite unbelievable that they employ and deploy instruments and music at the right time to create that sense of newness and that sense of shock and that sense of purpose. Well, if we needed a second single on this album, I think we've found one on track 3. And for me, it would be Contact the Fact. What a great song this is. And I'm really getting much more of a post-punky sort of feel from this. It's reminiscent, I think, of The Cure and their song, their classic, A Forest. It's a great start by Graham and Mick. And once again, I love how the guitar is used. I mean, I'm talking about as a lead instrument rather than a rhythm one, punching out the chords. And we have these single note lines or little bits of melody which are thrown in by Adrian to really accentuate great moments within the song. And then we have the pad of the keyboards by Max, which are a wash on an ethereal level. Absolutely great. Single material right here. Let's have a listen to a bit of it. You can take what you want from me, because I know you can really get a sense of the influence of U2 here. Maybe that's not fair. Of sort of the sharing of collective ideas around 1981, particularly in the use of guitars on the next song, which is called Skeletons. And they've got chiming guitars which open it. It does have that sort of U2-esque feel, but maybe it was a sound-esque feel which was borrowed by U2. Bottom line is, who cares? And so we've got these beautiful shimmering guitars and a hell of a lot of space, which takes us back to that idea is just because you've got a lot of space doesn't mean you have to use it. Just because you've got a lot more instruments you can add, you don't have to use them. And what an unbelievable solo break this is by Adrian when they take it down really, really quiet and it seems like it's just going to fade out, but then it just builds up again and it's totally majestic. It's like they're rewriting the ideas for what a guitar solo should be. It's just so cool. And that rhythm section just bam, it's just like a runaway train just supporting everything that's going and propulsing it. It's fantastic. Great lyrics too. There's a gaping hole in the way we are with nothing to fill it up anymore. No flesh, no blood, just broken bone. A frame to hang our lives from. Wow. A frame to hang our lives from. And that ties into the next line of the chorus, which is "We're living like skeletons." Brilliant, brilliant imagery there from Adrian. And next up is Judgement, which is much more of a subtle and quiet song here. And we hear the kettle drums being played, seemingly only with the voice, but we see the others are there as well. And they're more subdued, but they're totally locked into this groove. And as the song and the verse goes on, it seems to be building frighteningly quickly up and towards what's going to be an epic chorus, but it doesn't do that. Again, rewriting the rules, it comes back down. It's a fake chorus, and we stay in the verse. Can there really be someone up above me who judges me when my time is up? I can't believe that I'm not the one that I should trust. And then we come to the solo, and it's in two parts. We have the synthesizers and Max taking the first part, and then the guitar takes over the second part. And the guitar tone here is incessantly itchy. It gets under your skin, and Graham's bass really cuts through the mix here as well. We've got building and we've got fading, and building and fading. And do you know what we have at the end? We fade out to the end of side one, and it's just incredible. And one of the things I'll say about why it's so incredible is I get totally involved in every one of these songs. So I'm not up to Judgement, for example, at the end of this side and thinking, oh, I really want to hear Winning, or I really want to hear Sense of Purpose. No, I'm within the world of that song, and I'm eager to move on to the world of the next. Well, in this case, we've got to flip it over and see what's on the other side. Well, we're not let down by the opening song on the second side either. It's called Fatal Flaw, and it is anything but. It is a great song. It's a killer opening song to start the second side, and it's ominous and it's foreboding, and it's got a killer groove as well, supplied by Mike and Graham. And it has elements definitely of the influence perhaps of Joy Division, but it's not a question of stealing that idea, borrowing that idea. It's about sharing the style and passing on the baton to somebody else, and that we should all be in this together. And everything on this song is a groove. And it's a good example of the way they get their groove together. But what they can do then is shift it from a sort of a minor feel to a major one, or a major one to a minor one, which takes us from optimism to pessimism and the other way around. However, Adrian's voice is so calculated and yet subdued, but the short guitar solo in here is anything but. It's neurotic, it's energetic, and I wish it went on for longer. But, that's leave them wanting more. Leave them wanting to play the album again. And the lyrics, a fatal attraction, fatal flaw, being growing away from the light, fatal flaw. The idea that being out of the sun's rays, if you will, is a fatal flaw, and it allows negativity and pessimism to enter. And I can't come back now until I drag myself out of this vice. Time's ticking. He's got to drag himself out of this vice. But there is hope here, because it's until I, not if I. Which takes us on to Possession. And this is a quieter song initially. And I love the snap and the precision of the drums. And this is something that Mick is really great at. I listened to Mick as a drummer. And funnily enough, this reminds me of when Lol Tolhurst used to play drums early on, particularly in The Cure. But when I was listening to Lol, it was for that metronomic, almost robotic sort of sense of timing. Here I'm listening to everything that Mick does. The bass and the guitar are also equally locked in here. And Max on the keyboards lays down this beautiful pad, but also does a couple of quirky things around it too. I adore the freaky guitar sounds that Adrian gets after the choruses. I'm not sure that's just because I've heard this a lot of times, but I even get the feeling from the beginning that the songs went where I expected them to go, except for the lead guitars, because I have no idea where they're coming from or where they're going. And they really sort of throw me, which is great. And we have another short manic guitar solo here, which pops up from the mix in this one. And Max's pads on the keyboards really underscore it perfectly. Oh, again, for the guitar solo to be longer, but also love the two voices which are used in the final choruses, which go back and forth. They're absolutely outstanding. But more about that guitar solo, I think. Let's hear a bit.
There's a devil in me. God in me, wants to put me in my place. There's a devil in me, trying to show his face. There's a God in me, wants to put me in my place. And I've gotta ask you, what do you want from me? You know the deeper your cut, the less there's left of me.
But just when I thought that things couldn't really get better, we come across a song called The Fire. And I would say that if you have never listened to the sound before, go into The Fire, because I think it's incredibly brilliant. It's a contender up there for my favorite song by The Sound. It is so good. And, you know, if you like early U2, you're going to love this. But this isn't about that band. It's about the sound, and the sound is unforgettable. Like a fire. Unforgettable fire. Get it? Why am I wasting my time with such brilliant punnage? That's so bad it's good. Anyway, the lyrics. I'm a willing victim of circumstance. I can't change a thing. I can't take the chance. And the massive anxiety that is presented by Adrian here, along with this scream of fire at the end, is absolutely devastating. This is an incredible song. Get into it. Please. I beg of you. I'm asking you. Here we go into Silent Air, and I'm always reminded of Bob Weir and Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead going into a studio and telling the producer that what they wanted was Dave Hassinger, was it? That what they wanted was thick air from Stockhausen. And what we have here is a beautiful melody, which is accompanied by this lovely bed of music as well. And it feels like we have a moment that we can just enjoy every breath we take. But that's juxtaposed by the edgier lyrics. And the middle instrumental section gives this sense of a band that is jamming because they fully, completely, and utterly know the song, and it gives it a sparse and a spacious feel to it. But having said that, it's the opposite of the cold recording studio in there. And these lyrics, these edgy lyrics I was talking about, you showed me that silence that haunts this troubled world. You showed me that silence can speak louder than words. It's a gorgeous, mature pop song, and it's one hell of a lot better than Every Breath You Take. We come up to a huge epic at the end of this song. I'm happy to run through it. And we've got those kettle drums coming at the start of the new dark age and are setting the idea that we're setting ourselves up for battle. And there's a really ominous feel that starts off and getting the Joy Division influence here. It's the last song on the album, and I love the chanting on the line to end the verse. Hope they go away, hope they go away. And all of a sudden it breaks into this faster section, which reminds us of the sound from earlier in the sound of this album, if that makes sense, and the visceral nature of Silent Air, which came just before. And then we go back to those foreboding kettle drums and the guitar solo. And there's terror in this solo, a completely brutal and distinctive, destructive sound. And then we come to a verse in which they're burning witches. A quick piano interlude, and it's beautiful how the piano is used here by Max, with just the drums then underpinning Adrian. In the darkest times, darkest fears are heard, and from the safest places come the bravest words. Then a fast pickup then, and it's pressure from all sides coming down around our ears, stuck in this room without a door, scratched away at the wall for years. All we've got to show is the dust on the floor. Here it comes, a new dark age. What incredibly brilliant imagery and iconography there. Stuck in this room without a door, scratched away at the walls for years. I don't know. The room doesn't have a door. Does that mean there's no entrance as well? And all we've got to show for our attempts to escape is just the dust on the floor in the new dark age. And then the band takes us on an instrumental ascension, which is full of sound and fury, signifying something. And then they're building us up to breaking point, chanting, "Here it comes, a new dark age." And we finally reach breaking point, and bam! The music, like particles floating in the air, slowly fall and fade away, fading away in a favorite song of mine. Wow. Thank you so much to people who post music like this on the internet. I've been trying to think whether this is a perfect album, and I can't figure out one reason why it's not. So thank you to those people who provided this for me. But most importantly, thank you to the sound. Thank you, Adrian Borland. It's incredible.